What's happening, everybody? I hope everybody's doing good. Um, I did my first, or I'm in the process of doing my first business trip since I've got my ears work done. And I was very happy that it didn't feel like my ears were going to explode on the plane. I still don't have hearing aids, which kind of sucks. But I was able to fly, which is really good. Otherwise, I'd lose my job. Um, I'm kind of bored of my hotel room, primarily because my son's doing a soccer tournament this weekend, and so him and my wife are out there doing that while I'm on the other side of the country, basically doing a job that starts on Monday. And so I'm just showing a screenshot, I guess, of his individual keffels, because I guess I don't know how, but she's ended up in my Twitter feed like 5 or 6 times. And I've tried reading up a little bit on it. It all seems very confusing and bizarre to me. Like, I really don't understand people that don't have kids trying to tell people with kids how to raise their kids. As a parent, I really don't want to hear from you as to how I should raise my kid and so on. So I generally take a very dim view on single people giving me unsolicited advice kind of thing. One of the things that does interest me is that apparently she has decided that she is moving to Ireland or what have you. And this is kind of right up my alley because I get asked about this constantly by people. What's it like to work overseas? How do you do it? And so on and so on and so on. Now, I have to be very clear. I'm not a legal expert in the tax code for the U.S. I'm certainly not a legal expert on the tax code in Canada. However, I have worked in Ireland and I have worked in Canada. And I've worked all over the world. There are very few places that I've not worked at. I have technically worked in not Alaska, Antarctica. I serviced an LCI on a ocean-going vessel in the territorial waters of Antarctica. So the thing that's odd to me is with this individual Keffels, she's trying to make this move to work overseas. What a lot of people don't understand is so what's going to happen to her, she's going to end up being double dipped. And what I mean by this is I'm assuming that Keffels is smart and she has some sort of LLC, limited liability company. I don't remember if it's the same in Canada. It could be slightly different. But the whole purpose of that is you effectively try to incorporate yourself. And you keep your personal finances and you keep your business finances completely separate 100% of the time. And the reason you do this is if your private venture goes under, it doesn't wipe you out personally. Your creditors on your business side can't go after you personally. It also has the added benefit of it actually makes it much more difficult for people to try to dox you and stuff online if you're doing a Twitch or a YouTube kind of thing. So anyone out there that's listening to my voice, if you are considering doing that for a living, one, don't. It's really stupid. But two, if you are going to do it, incorporate yourself. Get an LLC. And you do it in like North Dakota, Delaware, what have you. Whichever state is the cheapest, that also provides the most privacy protections to you and the most legal protections. It's a no-brainer. It costs like $150 or whatever. Probably something ridiculous cheap like that, and not enough people do it. So I'm assuming Keffels, based on what little I've looked into, apparently she makes a lot of money online. Considerable more amount of money than, well, 99.9999% of the idiots that try to make a living off of hot takes and making video content. So I'm assuming she was smart enough to separate herself into some sort of corporate entity in Canada and from her personal self. So if she moves off to Ireland and she tries to continue to run her business, she basically has to pay business taxes in Canada and she'll have to pay employment taxes in Ireland because she's in Ireland working in Canada kind of thing. This is why companies don't allow their remote employees to just move wherever the fuck they want, because the employer is then on the books for having to pay two sets of taxes for the same work. It's a really dumb idea. And this is why the vast majority of employers don't even consider this. And the ones that do consider it have never actually looked into it. And then as soon as they do, they realize it's a terrible idea. So Keffels is going to have to register for a tax number in Ireland, and she's going to have to pay taxes on her wages, and so on and so on and so on. Now, one of the issues is going to happen is when she applies for a tax number in Ireland, she will have to have a valid work visa. And she's not going to have a valid work visa. There is no work visa for someone like Keffels. Now, you will hear people all the time bring up this BS called digital nomad visas. They don't exist. They don't exist. They never exist in the way that people try to describe that they do. Usually it's a situation where like you can establish a business, say in Estonia, but it doesn't let you just live in Estonia for free. It lets you start a business remotely in Estonia. So Estonia can collect your taxes, kind of thing, make money off you. So probably what's happening is this individual, if she's over in Ireland, she's on a tourist visa, and she's probably on a long-term tourist visa. And if she's streaming right now, what she's doing is she's committing visa and tax fraud. And there's a lot of people that do this, like the quote-unquote digital nomad life, and what they are doing is visa and tax fraud. But it's very unlikely that they kind of get caught because it's such a small amount of money. And it's flying under the radar kind of thing. And the people that do get caught doing this are the ones that are making enough money that entities find them, or like tax entities, or they are so in your face about it that they get busted. And based on the little bit that I've seen of this individual online, I don't think I think she's being really stupid. If she's actually in Ireland and currently streaming and stuff, I don't know. I haven't looked up her channel or anything like that. I don't really look at Twitch stuff because I'm not into video games. But this would be a really bad idea for her to be streaming over in Europe and living in Europe, like in part of the EU, without actually having any kind of visa to allow that to happen. A lot of people don't realize this when you're on like a visa or a student or like a tourist visa or a student visa, you're really not supposed to work at all. Technically, whenever I'm on vacation, I'm not even supposed to open up my computer. And I always have to get visas. I constantly have to get visas. My employer has an entire legal department to get me visas. I don't believe for a moment that somebody like Keffels would be able to get a visa. I don't think people tend to understand how difficult it is to secure work visas. You basically have to have a very high skill with a lot of qualifications if it's a well-paying job, or it's going to be like a farm worker in the United States, an agricultural visa, where you're just willing to do back-breaking labor for next to nothing. But that next to nothing in the States is worth a lot more back home kind of thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. A lot of people will ask me about this. My wife likes to have dinner parties, and I cannot tell you the number of times where it's been like couples are my wife's age or their kids who are like teenagers and stuff. They'll ask me at the dinner party, like, what's it like working overseas? And I'm truthful about it. You're not Anthony Bourdain. You're not living the high life. And a lot of times I'll get these people like, well, I know what it's like. I did a semester in Germany. And it's like, no, being a student or a tourist is not the same as being a guest worker. I don't even know why somebody like Keffels would want to move to Ireland. I don't think she speaks. I'm certain she doesn't speak Gaelic. I haven't heard her talk or anything, but I'm certain she doesn't speak Gaelic. She won't understand local politics. She won't understand local culture. She won't understand local politics. So, like, she's going to be completely isolated, even in a big city. The nuance or the excitement of being there gets old very, very quickly. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of the new hires for my company, that they'll get sent out with me on these trips, and they get burned out very, very quickly on these, even mid-length assignments. They get very, very burned out very quickly because it just gets old. You could be in the best hotel on the planet, it gets old. You could be in the best apartment, but when you're away from your friends, your family, the TV doesn't show what you're normally used to, the radio doesn't make any sense. It gets old after a while, and you just want to go home. But I don't know. Maybe she just lives her entire life on the internet, so she doesn't leave her house or whatever. I don't know. I really don't understand people that try to make a living off the internet. To me, it's like Hollywood, only it's the cycle between unknown, known, back to unknown is like 10 times shorter. But what do I know? I'm just a dummy. But anyway, I hope everyone's taking care of each other. I'm trying to take care of myself. Boarding in a hotel room in Southern California. So y'all take care. Ciao.